Ikwap.
Yes, please.
Welcome to UBC.
Thank you, Daniel.
What does Ikwap mean?
Well, Ikwap, in a concept where I come from, specifically Teso, Ikwap means a small world, you know? When you say Ikwap, it's a big world, but in my concept, Ikwap means a small world.
A small world?
Yes. We have met today, so it's a small world. Yeah, allows us opportunity to really traverse. I think it comes from a concept that the universe itself is a global village now. Yeah, so because of that, Ikwap just means a small world.
Does it have anything to do with how you have managed to live your life?
Well, we are usually given names depending on the heritage, the clan and so forth. But where my clan comes from, well, Ikwap is a small world. It doesn't have to do with anything, how you grow up and so forth. It's just a name that implies something. An attachment.
How have you used that meaning to live a successful life?
To get where I am, first of all, I must start by saying that I waited until Uganda was liberated to be born. So I'm a born of 1986. And yes, I'm a born of 1986. And to traverse that, to live up to my name, by the time I was in primary, in Soroti Parents Primary School, I was the youngest health prefect, okay? By the time I went to Teso College, and Lloyd in Soroti. I was a house captain, yes, that one in Morota. I was a house captain in a Kabwe house. By the time I came to complete my O-level in Luzira Lakeside College, I show. Immediately 2004, I ran. Okay, that's the time I turned 18. I ran to the registers of NRM. I was able to register myself under NRM. So 21 years now, I'm a registered NRM member. And my A-level, again, I've studied in church-founded schools, religious-founded schools. My A-level was in St. Maria Goretti, in MPG here, and then I went for my university where I completed economics, and I'm economics by practice, by training, but by practice I'm a community worker. So I completed my university in Uganda Matters University in Kozi. Yes.
Oh, not Uganda Christians.
No, Uganda Matters
in Kozi, Masaka Road.
Yes, Masaka Road.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
yes. That's where I completed my university from, and it's the same place I enrolled for my master's in development economics. So, to live up to my name, Ikwap, I have been able to serve the small world that we are in. Okay, I have served the whole communities in Uganda. Okay, if you talk about northern Uganda, refugees from Lamo, South Sudanese refugees. If you talk about Chiriandongo areas, refugees mixed all over Africa, okay? If you talk about Lango region, if you talk about Teso, if you talk about southwestern Uganda, okay? Bundubujo and Toroko. If you talk about Bugisu area, Bududa, those flood-affected areas. If you talk about Bukedi area, Palisa, I've been able to serve these communities, especially in areas of food security and livelihoods, to live up to my name, to be able to reach out to any part of this country, to touch their lives, to transform them in terms of enhancing household income, in terms of promoting food security, production, okay, crop and animal. That is what I've been doing.
You have been serving them at an individual initiative, or you are through?
Well, I have worked with local national organizations. Okay, I have worked with an organization called Vision Terudo. It's a big timer in Teso region. I have worked with Soruda Foundation. This is a big timer civil society organization serving people in the whole of Uganda. And my work has been through civil society organizations, but with funding from foreign agencies, the USAID, the European Union, the UN agencies such as World Food Programme, UNHCR, UNDP. Those are the organizations that have been serving us. GIZ, so we have been able to mobilize resources from foreign agencies to serve communities in Uganda. Yes.
If you would not blow your own trumpet,
yes,
what would others describe you?
Well, the people who I have worked with, the people who I have worked for, the communities that I've served, know me for one thing, being very assertive, okay? I do not leave a task uncompleted, okay? So if you go to the institution that I have served, they know I have pioneered the roles which I have served in those organizations. And I have ensured that we transform the lives of the communities in the areas that I have served. Of course, complementing the programs of the NRM government, complementing the programs of the government of Uganda. You talk about the national development plans all along, complementing those plans, ensuring that we deliver Vision 2040. I have been serving communities through civil society, to complement, to address the programs, the plans, the policies that our government has. And I must tell you, those policies are rich and very good.
Okay. In your preamble, you said 21 years ago you joined the NRM.
Yes, please.
Why NRM? There were other political parties.
Well, like I told you, I was liberated at birth in 1986. Okay, so I was born into the liberation of the NRM government. From the time I matured in 2004, when I had to ensure that I get registered, I have been studying the policies in terms of transformation of this country, of NRM, okay? I have been studying the programs, okay? Right now we know big in the community is the parish development model. So such models before that, you know, Bonabakagawale, such models that have been coming through, these are programs that have motivated me to join the party, because then I would like to be part of the initiative to serve communities of Uganda. Yes.
Very many people have served at various capacities in communities, but not politically.
Yes.
So why politics?
Well, the slogan has been for a very long time, the leaders of tomorrow, okay? The slogan has been for a very long time, the future of Uganda, okay? To me, that future has arrived now, okay? Uganda is predominantly a young population, okay? And we can no longer wait for tomorrow. That future has arrived that we've been talking about. So I have come in to join the race just to ensure that there is a representation of the population, the bigger population of Uganda, okay? We can't say we are representing the Bazukulu, okay? And yet we don't have the Bazukulu in the top organ, okay? And yet we don't have the Bazukulu next to the president, next to the chairman, okay? Talking to the chairman, giving the views of the current generation to the chairman as we implement these very good programs of the NRM government. So this is the time. We can no longer wait for a future. I think for us to be able to achieve our future, this is the time for us to join the politics of this country.
Where else have you been active in politics?
Well, in terms of politics, I have been, like I mentioned, apart from just serving at school level, okay? In terms of politics, I have worked very closely with community leaders. My work involves working with chairpersons in Local Council 1. My work involves working with chairpersons in Local Council 2. My work involves working with chairpersons in Local Council 3. My work involves working with chairpersons in Local Council 5. Okay? So I have closely worked with these teams, and I'm telling you, these are the foot soldiers of this country. The great work that you're seeing the NRM government do, the mobilization, the monitoring of the government programs, is done by these lower local government leaders, okay? So those are the guys, the core. So I have worked closely with these teams to ensure that we deliver the programs of the government, okay? Both government of Uganda and directly the NRM policies, the NRM manifesto, okay?
So Mr. Daniel.
Yes.
If I say you have been an unsung hero in the NRM activities, am I right?
I can't blow my own trumpet, but I must tell you that we have been complementing what government is doing. I must tell you that we have worked very closely with government, okay? And I have directly worked with political figures in this country, okay? Right from the top up to the bottom, okay? So that alone, being able to contribute this is a plus. But now it is time to step inside the pitch, okay? Step inside the pitch and play a complementary role directly under the leadership of His Excellency, the chairperson of the NRM government.
So looking at the position you're targeting, that's the NRM Vice Chairperson, Eastern Region.
Yes.
Why that position?
Well, I must tell you for now, that position is vacant, okay? And I'm putting myself forward to serve the communities of Uganda, not only Eastern Uganda, East Africa, Africa as a whole, as Africa as a whole, and the whole world, the globe, okay? Now, I have keenly identified and worked with communities, identified issues. You talk about Eastern Uganda. The moment you clock ginger, okay? You're looking at production of crop. What are we doing, okay? You're looking at animal, livestock production. What are we doing, okay? If you're looking at aquatic life, what are we doing? Horticultural crops, what are we doing? How are we improving the livelihoods of the people in those areas? If you're talking about industrialization, how well are we doing? I must tell you right now, if you go to Namamve here in Mukono, In the evening and early morning hours, you will see a flock of people, 500 people leaving. That is an economy, okay? But if you go to our industrial parks in the east, you hardly see 10 people working together coming from the industrial park. That sends you a message that we have already systems, programs put in place by government to enrich, enhance the livelihoods of these communities. Unfortunately, we are not realizing that. So I am coming in to play a complementary role at the top organ. How do we influence policy implementation to enhance livelihoods? If you talk about Eastern Uganda, livelihoods of our communities there. Are we promoting cage farming? There are a lot of innovations in terms of aquatic life. Are we promoting cage farming? Recently, 2 young Ugandans, a male and female, 2 young Ugandans got an accolade in Europe for an innovation, okay, for prolonging the shelf life of vegetables, okay? They had to go outside to Europe to be recognized. Why are we not doing that in the country, okay? So if we can have such innovations promoted in Uganda, okay, prolong the shelf life, but also be able to set price ceilings, okay? That is the role. What are we doing in SEC to advise policy implementation, to guide policy implementation, okay? Frustratingly, I have participated in farming myself, okay? You find our farmers are getting a cup of milk from a cow, okay? And you think you're doing dairy farming. What are we doing to improve the breeds of animals, okay? How are we improving the breeds of goats in that region? And if you zone Eastern Uganda, okay? If say from the mountain slopes of Budoda, okay? Big in horticultural, vegetables, tomatoes, onions, green pepper. They're big in Irish, okay? How are we ensuring that we are safeguarding those farmers in setting price ceilings, in ensuring we elongate the shelf life of the vegetables? You go to Sebei area, big in barley, okay, big in wheat. How are we safeguarding them in value addition, okay? How?
So the loopholes you're talking about,
Yes.
are they there due to a deliberate action or the failure for the past leaders? I
don't want to say failures really, because our government has done a lot, okay? But how cognitively are the leaders in touch with the reality, the communities? That's why we are saying that for now, it is only our chairperson that we are saying, please, he's the captain of the NRM party. He's the highest goal scorer. The rest are playing, are just providing goal assists, okay? And if you're not providing the right goal assists to the chairperson, how well do you expect the very good programs of the NRM government to be achieved? Okay? So there are loopholes that we have identified in terms of ensuring that we come to improve. We will definitely go back. Like the current vacant position I'm vying for, we'll go back to the past, my predecessor, and tell him, well, where did you hit a bottleneck? How did you fail to address this? And we have coming in to improve the challenges that the party is facing, especially when you come to Eastern Uganda. I was zoning you. When you go to the Teso region, okay, big on animal production, okay, big on grains. How are we improving the breeds of the animals there? How are we improving the quality of the crops there, okay? The Bukedi area is surrounded, it's almost a swampy area, okay? Big on rice, okay? Aquatic life. How are they doing cage farming in those areas, okay? So industrialization, like we said, innovation. We don't need to wait for our innovators to go to Europe to learn that we need to support them. I think we need to identify the relevant innovations within the country among our young people and begin grooming them, incubate them, okay? And support them. How well are we doing this?
So Mr. Daniel, you have been engaging the community through your works and so on.
Yes, please.
Have you engaged the national vice chairperson, the person who was in this seat, also to find solutions to some of what you're saying before?
Well, again, the NRM has structures and it's led through structures, okay? And like I mentioned, I have worked with direct political structures of the NRM government, okay? We have engaged them in setting up, okay, one, setting up projects, two, in rolling out projects, we have directly engaged these leaders, okay? But we are saying it is time that we have a young generational person to enhance generational vision transfer, to enhance NRM to stay afloat. NRM is at the top of the food chain as we talk right now in this country. But how do we ensure that we maintain that vigor consistently? We are coming in and we want to surround the chairperson with young people, okay? We want to surround the chairperson with people who give him direct views from the community level, okay? I should be able to get views directly from my peers, okay? Direct to the chairman. We don't need to go through very many channels, okay? That's what we want to avoid. We want to be able to speak out direct to the chairman and avoid middlemen in the process. Yes.
Why are your contenders saying some of your people are agents? Do you have agents funding you?
Well, it's very unfortunate to assume that we have agents. I would love to be given an agent to fund me. I think that's a good thing. I would love to be given an agent to fund me. But that is a very unfortunate scenario, okay? To assume that I don't know, we are frontiers of certain individuals. I think that is very unfortunate, okay? We have come here because we need to be part of the process. We need to have a representation in the process. But if you hear there is a rumor of agents, please inform us and we see who are these agents that are really coming up to fund us, okay? Yes, but ideally, no. We have identified that we need to be relevant and we are coming to stay relevant. We are coming to represent our generation. And we want representation in the top organ. So that when we are implementing our policies, we are steering them directly in the interest of our views. Because I must tell you, we are on track. But we need inclusion in this process.
There are structures in NRM. There are areas where the youth can be heard. Why would you rush to the top position? To begin with, I'm not a youth. Okay? I'm 39 years old. Secondly, we need to be very clear about the qualifications required to be the vice chairperson of this country. Okay? Once you pick that, then you understand. I shouldn't be assuming to go and compete and deny my young colleagues in a race for the youth league. That is unfortunate. Okay? Let's create space. Let's give opportunity to everyone who is capable of running for leadership in this country. Okay? If there were other people, they would have presented themselves in my age bracket for this position. Okay? But I have presented myself. Okay? Let's leave the youth. I should not go and struggle for space which belongs to another category. But in terms of clarity on the required qualifications of the national vice chairperson, specifically Eastern Uganda, it is very clear. And I fit very well into that. Yes. So it doesn't matter the position, but the qualification.
It's the qualifications, okay? Qualification. Compete for areas where you qualify for. And I'm telling you, I qualify for this. Okay? So that is the bottom line. Secondly, like I've told you, there needs to be a representation at this level. We need a representation at the top organ. And that representation has come now. Yes.
There are a lot of divisive politics, especially in the eastern region. What are your strategies to avert this?
Well, first of all, it's very unfortunate on what we keep hearing, especially about the divisive politics coming from our region. That's very unfortunate. As a party, we do not condone that, I must tell you, okay? NRM is still going to come out strong and united at the end of this, okay? Come August, NRM is going to come out strong and united more than ever. I said we are at the top of the food chain, okay? And we are the strongest at the moment. Now, the divisive politics really, especially among what I'm hearing, among our elders, among our senior comrades, it's very unfortunate. One of the best things that we can do really is take these two back home, okay? Because I bet you electing any of them is not going to improve. They're still going to be bickering, okay? They're still going to be finger pointing. We need to take them back home where the problem generated from and understand You can't bring a personal problem from home to include into our mighty party. You cannot bring petty bickering arising from home to disorganize the unity that we have in our party. So no, immediately we are through with this. There is a need that we sit down our senior comrades and understand exactly why are they not looking eye to eye, okay? Where is the challenge stemming from? And it is stemming from home. So we'll take them home and sit them down and understand where is the problem coming from. Because we're all coming from the east. Yes.
So as we wind up this engagement, do you think you joining CEC will see enough collaboration among the NRM?
That is the first step. That is the first step. The whole world, the whole Uganda, and the whole world, the whole East Africa, the whole of Africa is keeping a keen eye on NRM, on its level of inclusiveness, okay? First of all, just being able to get a nomination for a young man like me, a great strive, okay? This alone is a great strive. So the whole world is seeing, and Ugandans are watching, how inclusive in terms of the current generation is the NRM party. In terms of collaboration, okay, my coming in is going to address a lot of things. One, demystifying the perception out there that this position is reserved for an individual, okay? That alone is creating unity, okay? Two, by the time I'm coming as a representation of the current generation of the Bazukulus, that alone is creating unity. Three, having a representation of the direct views, being able to take to the chairman the direct views and concerns of this current generation. That in itself is going to create a collaboration. I haven't been in touch with the local communities, okay? I have traversed communities personally, and I must tell you, we understand that we do not want to create a detachment between this position and the reality down, okay? Four, we should be able to take back our senior comrades. One, to go and sit back home to understand where is the genesis of their problem. Two, they should rally behind us, okay? They should be rallying behind us and support the chairman in mentoring us, because we are here to ensure that we take the opportunity while the chairman is still at his strongest moments to be able to train us. We need to gain that experience. We need to attach ourselves for apprenticeship to him, okay? Let us do an understudy under him to be able to move on with the party in its great state, okay? So coming in is going to play a neutralizing role, okay?
Okay. So with the statistics, the poverty statistics in the whole of Eastern region, how would the people feel your presence in addressing this?
Well, having worked closely with them and knowing region by region, district by district, sub-region, from Sebei to Bukedi, to Bugisu, to Teso, to Kumam areas, being in touch directly to Busoga, being in touch directly with these communities, understanding the small nitty-gritties, understanding what you would ignore, the small innovations that we are having there, understanding the level of productions, understanding the kind of infrastructure that they need to locomote goods and services, okay? Having that touch alone, okay? To create hope, that beacon, that indeed we can as a young population do this, we will be able to stimulate, to ignite a certain response in terms of working to ensure that we address food insecurity, household income, education, shelter, health issues, okay? This alone, being able to present myself, creates a beacon of hope that we have met him, and indeed this is possible. This is the kind of hope, this is the kind of ignition which we want to create amongst our communities.
Have you ever met President Yoweri Museveni?
In person, no. I have never met His Excellency.
You are protesting against an incumbent, someone who has been in this field for a long time, directly is in touch with President Yoweri Museveni. What gives you confidence?
The demystification I'm talking about. That is what we're dealing with here. The demystification. I have met with the former chairperson. Okay, because I'm telling you the position is vacant. I've met with the former chairperson several times. Okay, that demystification, to think that certain positions are reserved for a certain category of people, is what we are working out. We don't want that. We are demystifying that perception. Okay, we should know that His Excellency the chairperson is a very liberal person. Okay. He's a people person. You have seen him stopping while driving in one of these parish development monitoring movements. He stopped along the road and got out of his car to greet a farmer, a female farmer who was busy digging in her garden. That is the kind of humility of the chairman that we're dealing with. So we want to demystify any thinking that you should have met the chairperson, the chairman of this mighty party, for you to qualify for a position in SEC, the top organ.
Thank you very much, Mr. Daniel. Is there anything you feel you have left out?
This is the start, okay, of the journey. This is the start of the journey, and we're just beginning, okay? All that I can tell you is that we need the young population to come out in numbers and rally, okay? Well, there has been this coming up that the politics of Uganda is monetized, okay? But I'm telling you that we are not selling our generation, okay? Like you mentioned earlier that do I have funders, do I have agents, okay? Like you mentioned, that scenario which is coming up, that the politics is monetized, I must tell you, and I must tell my generation there, eat the money. When they bring the money, eat that money. In fact, when they tell you come to Kampala, before they hang up the call, you should be seated in the bus. When they tell you let's meet in this hotel, before they finish, be seated in the hotel. Eat that money. But when we meet in August, make sure that you're voting for our generation to ensure that we stay afloat, we have a representation in the party, in SEC, in the top decision-making organ. Yes.
But to you, are there agents destabilizing NRM members in the Eastern region?
What I can tell you is that people in Eastern Uganda have seen a laguna. People in Eastern Uganda have seen a vacancy, okay? And those who are brave enough like me have put themselves forward to occupy that vacancy, okay? It has nothing to do with disorganizing, no. We have just seen that there is a vacancy, okay, in the position of the National Vice Chairperson, Eastern Uganda, that needs filling, that needs to be occupied, and we need to come and occupy it to make sure that we address the interests of our people of Eastern Uganda, the country at large, East Africa, I'm a Pan-Africanist, East Africa, Africa, and the globe at large, okay? It has nothing to do with disorganizing anyone, okay? And like I told you, the time is now, the time is ripe now. There is no more time. This is the right time for us to come and plant ourselves to get the necessary mentoring and training, that apprenticeship from the chairman, to be able to continue with the great work which our party is doing.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I wish you well in ensuring that the opposition dominance, especially in the area you come from, that is Soroti, you kick out opposition in that area. I've been in the areas like Gweri County where FDC and other opposition have taken over that area for decades. So I don't know how you're going to solve that side.
Talk about majorities. I want to talk about majorities. The current generation is the majority. And if the current generation is not seeing their representation in NRM, then they're second guessing. The current majority, which is the young generation, needs to see their representation in NRM, and not just in NRM, in top organs of NRM, so that they build that confidence that when we are voting in Gweri, when we are voting in Soroti City East, when we are voting in Soroti City West, when we are voting in Soroti County, okay, we are voting NRM because we are seeing a representation of our generation, okay? That is key. So that is something that we are countering, that we need this vibrancy in the party. We need this vibrancy not only in terms of, not only in terms of being able to influence, but we need vibrancy in terms of identifying with the current generation.
Are you only vying to have a position, or also to see that the NRM keeps your mandate in 2026?
Well, we are part of the NRM. We have to hold ourselves accountable in ensuring that we deliver our mandate. Okay? We are accountable to Ugandans. We have to ensure that we stay afloat and the NRM comes on top come 2026. I have decided to concentrate my candidature strictly to SEC, strictly to the NRM organs, because the next 5 years is a period I want to concentrate myself in ensuring that we address party-specific policies, party-specific programs, party-specific decision-making, okay? So I am leaving out the mainstream politics in terms of the Electoral Commission, Member of Parliament, LC5s, LC4. I'm leaving that to my colleagues to vie for that. I am strictly concentrating on the SEC and ensure that we mobilize, come 26, we mobilize a majority of our young people to rally behind the party.
Where do you get your financing?
I'm telling you, I come from civil society background. I'm also a farmer, okay? I do not work with the so-called, okay, agents, no. I predominantly work as and for the young generation, okay? So in terms of funding, what funding are we talking about? That's the demystification we need to remove. You don't need to come with 10 billion to contest for the national vice chairperson. You need to come to be able to further the strong policies of the party. Come to be able to have a representation of the young generation in the party. Come to be able to share views in the party. You do not need bags of money to contest for the national vice chairperson.
Okay.
Yes.
So thank you very much, Mr. Daniel.
Thank you, Daniel. Good.